Good morning, students. Today I am going to continue chapter number 8, Women, Caste and Reform from History. And today's topics are number 1 is Women Write About Women and Caste and Social Reform. Okay. So, my dear students, as I told you in my previous explanation about the abolition of sati pratha and widow remarriage and women's education. So in this topic we will discuss about that how women encouraged women and girls to go to school and also for civil right. So students from the early 20th century, Muslim women also like Begum of Bhopal played a very important role for the promoting of education, especially among women and girls. So, in this series, they founded a primary school in Aligarh for girls. And another woman whose name was Begum Ruqayya Shakhawat Hussain started school for Muslim girls, especially in Patna and Calcutta, only for the welfare of the Muslim girls. And students, Ruqayya Shakawat Hussain was very daring and she was fearless about the very critical conservative ideas, especially related to the religious leaders, and because always they were talking about the place of women which was only at home, and according to the religious people and religious leader, women were inferior in the compare of male. Anyhow, that's why she is not like this kind of ideas and religious activities which were prevail in India. And student, after some time later, by the starting of 1880s, Indian women started to enter and had taken admission in universities, and in some of them trained to be a doctor and teachers, and also many women began to write and publish about the critical points of view and ideas related to the religious activity, especially in particular caste and particular religion. And also they had write about that why women or girls are inferior than the women and why they had to take care only the children, and also they have to cook food at their house. And after some time later in this series, Tarabai Shinde, who was a educated woman, and she is from Pune, published a book which name was Istri Purush Tulna. It means a comparison between women and men. And also in their writing, she was very keen to write about the social differences among the men and women which were created by the religious leaders especially, and also they were totally against this kind of ideas and points of view. After that, again in this series, a great woman whose name was Pandita Ramabai, and she was also a great scholar of Sanskrit, started to think about the Hinduism religious activity, because that time Hinduism and whatever religious practices done by the Hindu people, that was very oppressive and very dominating towards women. And also, she had write about the very miserable condition and lives of upper caste Hindu women and Hindu widows. So, for the change of life of the women and girls, especially who were widows, who had been treated very badly by their husbands and relative and also society. So she founded a widow's home especially for widow women. And in this shelter and widow home, their women were trained in which that they could support themselves economically. Okay, and after that, whatever I told you above, so you can understand whatever activities done by the Ruqayya Shekhawat Hussain and Tarabai Shinde, and after that Pandita Ramabai. The activities of all these women were totally against the orthodoxy point of view of religious leaders. That's why peoples who were belongs to the high society of Muslim and Hindus, they were totally against the ideas of these women. And also Hindu nationalists felt that Hindu women were adopting Western ways and lifestyle, and they were also writing about the men and their domination, and this would corrupt Hindu culture and erode family values. And also, Muslim Orthodox were worried about the impact of these changes, especially into the Indian women who were belongs to the Muslim religion. All right. So students, on the basis of above explanation, you can understand how women themselves started encourage to the women and girls for the education and also for writing and also for changing their lives. So in the end of 19th century, women were actively working for a reform for themselves, and they wrote many books and edited many magazines and founded schools and training centers and also set up many women's associations. And from the starting of the 20th century, they formed many political pressure group and political organization and demanded for female suffrage, or that political institution and pressure group raised their voice for the right to vote by the women also. And also these women demanded for a better health care and education and safe environment for women. And after some time later, women started to join many nationalist and socialist movement from the 1920s. And I think you all well known about the many politicians and political leaders and writers who were women and actively participated in the movements of India and in the freedom fight of India. Okay? So, student, after some time later, in the 20th century, Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose had supported, and also they were favor of women, and they wanted to provide or give equality and freedom, especially for women in Indian society. Okay? And also, many nationalist leaders promised to women that after independence of India, they would be full suffrage for all men and women. So finally, they asked to women, please concentrate on the anti-British struggle, because if we were fighting like this with each other, then we cannot never free India from Britishers. Alright? So students, now you can understand that in this way women got their right and their place in the Indian society. And after that, your next topic is caste and social reform. So student, as I told you in my previous explanation, that many social reformers and many social workers also started discussing and criticizing about the caste inequalities and difference between the upper caste and lower caste. So in this series, Raja Ram Mohan Roy translated a very old Buddhist text which were totally against the casteism or caste system. And the Pratna Samaj, which was the follower of Bhakti, that groups believed in the spiritual equality of all castes. And after that, in Bombay, the Paramhans Mandali was founded in 1814, and that Paramhans Mandali worked for the abolition of casteism, and they wanted to stop the major gap between the upper caste and lower caste system. Okay? So students, after the work of these groups and Mandali, many reformers and social workers, especially who were belong to the upper caste, started to work to abolish casteism from India. And in this series, they had worked especially for the abolition of casteism, and they grouped and done in sacred meetings, and they were also violated the casteism and caste taboos on food and touch. So final students, on the basis of above example, we can say that many social reformer and upper caste people were also against the casteism and prejudice. Okay? And in among all the social reformers and social workers, many were who questioned the injustice of the caste and social order. And during the starting of 19th century, many Christian missionaries began to set up many schools, especially for tribal people and lower caste children, to educate them and also to improve their condition. And these were children, if they can learn and study well, then they can change the world. But there is no resources available were so students know any kind of resources were available there that they can change their lives. But due to the effort of social workers and reformers, now they are able to get education and they can improve their condition. And on the basis of above example, now you can understand that India started to modernize and change. That's why, due to the growing of new cities, especially in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata, many poor people who were living in the villages, they were began leaving villages to look for jobs that were opening in the cities. And all these poor workers who were migrated from their village to the city started to work in many big factories and municipalities, and also they were busy in construction for the many new buildings, and also many workers and people were required that time for the digging road and construction of roads, etc. And also coolies, diggers, carriers, bricklayers, sewage cleaners, sweepers, rickshaw pullers were required to complete the needs and requirement of the people who were started to live in the big cities and were busy in trade and business from the foreign countries. So students, again one question will arise here, that where this where did this labor come from? So students, as I told you above, that the poor from the villages and small towns, and many of them from low caste, began to move to the big cities where they can get a new job. And some were busy in plantations in Assam and Mauritius, Trinidad and Indonesia. And students, that time, those workers or laborers who were migrated from India to the Mauritius, Trinidad and Indonesia, their working location was very hard. But the poor people from low caste saw this movement from India to another country for work as an opportunity, and also they can change their lives because they were afraid and totally fed up from the oppressive system of castes in India, and a major gap between the upper class and lower class people. And students, you know very well that landowners were very oppressive, and also they were suffered daily humiliation by their owner or landowners. That's why they were migrated from India to the many big countries of the world in the search of work, job, and better living condition. And students, as I told you above, that many social reformers also were in favor of women's, and they wanted to change their lives. So as well as that time, army offered a great opportunities for job, and a number of Mahar people who were called are known as untouchable found jobs in the Mahar regiment of the Indian Army, and also the father of Bhimrao Ambedkar, who was the leader of the Dalit movement, taught at an army school. So, students, on the basis of above sample, now you can understand how women and many social reformers work together only for the welfare of the women and to improve the condition of women and lower caste people. So, students, for today's that's all, and in my next explanation, I will discuss with you demands for equality and justice and who could enter temples. And after that, the non Brahman movement. All right. Thank you and have a nice day.